Wuthering Waves, you severely leveled up your storytelling, and the writing and the storytelling has leveled up.
And I think that's an understatement. I might be reaching, but I now feel like I can see what Kuro Games is going for with Wuthering Waves. To me, it seems like they're trying to make Wuthering Waves into the game where you're playing an anime, and not just as an anime style game in graphics and character designs and stuff like that, but how the game is actually portrayed. In the beginning, it just felt like a gacha game that had potential, even though it had a lot of issues with its launch and the optimization and the voiceover issues that it was having at the beginning. But after 2.0 dropped, you could really see the potential in the game shine. But I don't know, because even then, it still just felt like a gacha game. They upgraded the story, they upgraded the combat, they upgraded how it felt to actually play the game, even just exploration and stuff like that. Especially even in 2.4 with the scenes with a lot of the characters like Lupa and Cartethia, you could even tell that they were trying to attain something that wasn't really attained in other gacha games. But now in 3.1, you can really just tell that something feels different, and it's not like there's like major changes or anything. You can just tell that they're really like, it almost feels like they're becoming an anime studio with how they're portraying their story and how they're executing their scenes, how they're forcing you to really feel things, the themes that they're playing around. It really just feels like they're getting that vibe of like a top tier anime studio and putting it into a video game that you can vicariously live through and experience. In the 3.1 story, you could immediately feel that something just really felt different. Like the way that aemeath's expressions, like as soon as you see one of aemeath's smile, you can tell that it's not just your generic character smile. Like usually what the companies do is they have a character smile if they want the character to seem happy, or they have the character frown if they want the character to seem sad. But as soon as you see aemeath smile at any point, you could immediately tell there was pain behind her smile. And those are the kind of minor details that you don't even realize, but it makes you feel something and you don't even understand what you're really feeling. You're like, damn, she's suffering. You can immediately tell that she's suffering by her voice acting, by her smile, by the execution of the camera shots, by the angles they're using. And that's something that I think that they played around with, like their expressions, but not to this extent to where you can really see there's something different. And it's not even just aemeath, it's Rover too, which honestly is one of the craziest things, because even though these games are theoretically supposed to be self-insert games where the main character isn't really supposed to have that much characterization or that much personality so that you can insert yourself into them, they gave Rover a lot of dialogue, and the way that he used his voice and the way that he used his dialogue, you could tell that he was actually feeling something, and they gave him a lot of character. Like they were developing his character. And main characters in gacha games aren't really supposed to develop. They're supposed to be you. There's a lot of scenes that you see in the story that are very impactful that you don't even realize, because you're not even really supposed to realize them. They're supposed to just be like subtle background scenes that you're not really paying attention to, but it all adds to making you feel really immersed and making you feel what the characters are going through, what the theme of the story is, the stakes of the story, the severity of everything that's going on. Like the scene at the very end where aemeath basically became a shell and she was holding her paper airplane and her fingers twitched. That already got you to feel something. But then right after that, whenever she brings her arm up, before you see her arm come up, they show a scene of her shadow for like a split second. You might not even notice it, but it's like building the tension of the scene and making you feel how severe the situation is, adding just even more impact to the scene in general, which is why it's hard to truly explain what I mean when I say that the game is really becoming like an anime style game, because there's a lot of anime style game, but this one is just different. With whenever the anime starts to get to you, it really starts to get to you. And that's something that started happening in the story, is whenever it started getting to you, story really started to get to you. And these are the reasons why. Their storytelling has upgraded immensely to where it's like it's not even comparable, and you don't even really notice why, but it's all these subtle things that you don't notice that make it be the way that it is. You see aemeath's reactions, you see aemeath's movement, movements, even just during the regular dialogue scenes, she has a lot of emotion, she has a lot of expression because she's trying to hide her pain. And you notice that, and you can see that Rover notices that. And because it's not a self-insert, but it still is a self-insert, they're like, we know you feel this, but we also want you to feel this, so we're gonna show you how you are feeling through how Rover is feeling. So aemeath is being all energetic even though she's feeling pain inside of her, and Rover notices it because you notice it. There's a part in the story, one of my favorite parts of the story, whenever the classroom scene was happening where she was telling the story with the cat, she was saying a whole lot of, like, she was crashing out. She was laughing to herself. She was legitimately going crazy. Like, you could see her pain on her face through her emotions, through her voice acting. And she asks you, don't you think that's hilarious? And they give you an option where it's like, yeah, it's hilarious, or I don't really think that's funny. And I shit you not, I guarantee you the majority of the people were like, you look like you crashing out. I don't think I could find that funny, because that's what you're genuinely feeling. You don't want to enable her crashing out, but you also understand that, like, you need to be her rock in that moment. All these scenes that make you realize there's really something different that they just really haven't done in the story. And on top of that, the execution isn't really just with the character expressions and how the camera angles are being used, but it's also with the music that they use. They had, I don't know how many soundtracks they had, but it felt insane to me. First, I want to say the entire 3.1 story playthrough kind of gave me the vibes of animes like Angel Beats, Anohana, especially Clannad. And these are the kind of soundtracks that you would see in an old school anime that get you to feel a specific thing whenever tension is rising and specific feelings are flowing through you. The choice of music they use, the way they placed their music, and the way they change the versions of music that they use, like the scene in the classroom with the cat story. As soon as you walk out the classroom, you see this. And then you hear the drop. And you're like, oh man, you see the area and you're like, she's about to say some more shit, bro. She's about to say some deep shit that I'm gonna have to listen to and try to work out with her. And it's just another thing that you don't even specifically realize that adds to the presentation and the execution of the storytelling that makes you feel a lot of things that you don't even realize why you're feeling them. And it's something that, again, a top tier anime studio does to make you feel things, which is why I'm saying the game is legitimately becoming an actual anime game through the emotional experience that you're going through. And it's not even like the writing is completely different, but just the themes that they're exploring, like with family, the entire family dynamic. And I know everybody, almost everybody can relate to this point of the story, which is one of the most important things, because a lot of the story patches in 2.0 were still very good and you can still somewhat relate to them, but you can't relate to them to the same level where you can relate to this, because this hit almost everybody at every single angle. There were people who mainly related to aemeath, who didn't really have that much knowledge back then as a kid, and then grew up and they realized what their parent was actually going through and wanted to basically ease the burden of their parent, realized that they were causing a huge burden to their parent and wanted to ease the burden. But there are also people who are parents now and can relate to Rover in the sense where they're like, I'll do anything. I don't want to see my kids suffer. I'm gonna do whatever I can for them, but I still have to lead them down the right path because I understand why they're doing the things that they're doing. I understand why my kid is doing the things that they're doing, but I still have to lead them down the right path. And it's even more intricate because the theme isn't just like it has to revolve around blood family, because aemeath and Rover, they're not even blood family, because family is who you just decide to be your family. And the way that they really get into these themes, like when aemeath is being like, well, what am I gonna do? I'm not gonna try to make your life even harder right now. Okay, well, since you insist, you missed literally everything in my life. But even then, because she's older now and not a kid anymore, she's like, but I understand and I can't hold it against you because I know you're busy, because you're an adult and you gotta essentially save the world, but you also need to be saved. But after that, the craziest thing about the game is after the story, after an anime, usually typically what you do is you're like, damn, I finished the episode, I gotta wait for the next week. Or you finish the final episode and you're like, damn, I finished this anime. Now I just have post-anime sadness syndrome, and I'm just sad, and I gotta wait for the next anime that I can find that's this good. But now, after you finish the story, you can play as aemeath, but the story pretty much explains to you that the aemeath that you're playing isn't actually the aemeath that you know. She's a shell of the aemeath that you know, and you can still just explore the entire universe and feel like you're in the anime. It's like they're really giving you an entire anime experience where it's like you can feel like you're living in an anime at this point. You can feel like you are immersed fully into an anime. You can immerse yourself into shows, but whenever you finish the story, you can keep going. You can just explore all the regions, explore all the areas, find a lot of Easter eggs. Even before 3.1 in Honami City, they had a lot of anime Easter eggs. They had a lot of areas that you could explore. Listen to the music, feel all the emotions that you're still feeling from the story, and take that with you and feel like you're just casually living while you're waiting for the next portion of the anime to progress, which is something that I feel like has not really been considered. I could probably talk about it for way longer than I did in this video. I think I'm probably gonna cut some stuff out because I don't like making my videos way too long. But yeah, they're really trying to do something with this game, and I can see it. And it's not, yes, they're trying to make money, but they're really trying to make an entire experience for people who play the game. And I'm glad that this patch did so well. Everybody loved this patch. It was the most profitable patch that they had, because now they know that if they keep putting this kind of effort, they'll keep getting this kind of profit, they'll keep getting this kind of reception. So it's only gonna keep going uphill, which means it's only gonna get even more emotional for us in the future. So W Glaze, W Kuro Games.